Welcome to the DVB Newsroom. In our newsroom today, Andrea Marshall, the Program Director of Deutsche Welle's DW Academy in Berlin, Germany. She's here for the program Displacement and Dialogue in Asia and organizing Beyond Borders Conference, exploring forced migration, reporting and dialogue in Asia. Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
Welcome to the DVB Newsroom. We've been working together with DW Academy for a long time as partners from Myanmar media, civil society groups, and researchers. DW Academy is, working together with us for this area. So apart from Myanmar, what are the other areas in Asia DW Academy is working with?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here at DVB. DW Academy is Germany's main and largest organization for media development and journalist trainings, capacity building. And we work in around 70 countries around the world. And in Asia, apart from working with Myanmar actors, we work in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Cambodia. We also work in Central Asia, Uzbekistan, in Mongolia, and at times we have projects or events in Indonesia and the Philippines. Sometimes we include participants from Malaysia. So we are involved in many countries in Asia and other parts of the world.
Thank you. So let's talk about Beyond Borders Conference. Can you share the inspiration behind this conference? What motivated you to organize this kind of conference?
Yeah, thank you for that question. We see that in Asia there are so many forcibly displaced people and migrants, also IDPs, for various reasons. These are really large groups, also in the world, on a world scale. And oftentimes, these affected people don't have enough information about their own situation, about their everyday lives, what's happening to them, what is the future. So there we feel we have to come in and help to empower them, to give them a platform to speak out for themselves. We also work with exiled media, such as DVB and others, from Myanmar, also from Afghanistan, so from conflict-ridden home countries. And we feel it is so difficult to report, to publish critical reporting about those countries, from those countries. It's only possible through exile media. And that's why we support them, because they're the only ones who can provide that information. And so when we organize a conference like this one, we try to bring all groups together in person, this time in Thailand. So affected people, journalists, academics, civil society representatives, they can share from different countries, they can share their expertise to improve the situation about reporting. That's our aim. Yeah. They come together. And I have to say, at this conference we just finished, we had people from 80 countries. We had 80 participants from 20 countries, most of them Asian countries, some in other parts of the world. And it was very nice to see how they connected. Because these are groups who oftentimes they cannot meet so easily, because their countries, their political leaders are opposed, or because they come from the same country, but they are part of different sides of conflicts. And it's not easy for them to even physically meet. And so we create this opportunity, and it's very hard. It touches my heart to see that when people do meet in person, they do connect.
Yeah, I learned that, I learned some topics we never had in the conference, during the conference. And then I wonder how you select the main themes or topics of the conference, and why you select these as a themes and topics for this conference.
Yeah. One thing is that in our project, which you already mentioned, Displacement and Dialogue Asia, we work with two large groups of refugees in Asia. One is the Afghan community, people from Afghanistan who had to leave their countries and are now based in neighboring countries. We mainly work with them in Pakistan, but we also work with Rohingya refugees who had to leave Myanmar, and many of them are now based in Bangladesh, in Cox's Bazar, in the large camps. And with our partners in those areas, we support our partners to give them a platform to speak out for themselves. So that means these two groups were going to be covered in our conference, but we encourage applications from other countries because they also have migrants forcibly displaced or on the move for other reasons, and their stories are untold. So we issued a call for submissions for any country in Asia, for anyone who works in the field of migration, forced migration, to submit their ideas to present at the conference. And we received 130 submissions, and then a jury selected 35 of those submissions, and then we help to bring, or we sponsor those people to come to Thailand and do their presentations or their workshops or their lightning talk or their particular activity at the conference. Everyone who was invited had a particular role and a particular topic to share. So they all got engaged, and it was great to see how committed they were.
Great. Did you face any challenge during the conference, or how did you overcome?
The main challenge is actually before the conference, because as I said, our aim is to promote affected people to promote the idea and the intention that they need to share information. They need access to information, and they also have the right to speak out for themselves, the freedom of expression. These are human rights, and they belong to anybody, including affected people. But it's very difficult to get them to travel. And they don't have the papers, or they need to prove that they have a certain level of income if they go abroad. And also the problem might be, once they are at a conference, if we manage to do that, it's hard for them to go back, but they have their families back, so they are in this difficult situation. So it's hard to bring them here. And that's why we had representatives of affected communities, but these are people who now have different passports. Different passports, because they now live in different host countries, and they have the passports of the host countries, so they could travel. But it was also important for us to connect with you as Exile Media, Myanmar Exile Media, who are now here in Thailand, and because you are also affected, you had to leave the country, and I already said that it's important for us to support the work you do, and it was really good, and it was the first time for us actually that we were able to invite so many representatives of Exile Media to connect with the other ones, and also with Exile Media from Afghanistan, who we also support. So the challenge was, before the conference, how do we make sure we get those people to speak out? And then it's always a challenge, because we get so many great submissions. We can't have all of these activities at the conference and all these people. We had to make tough decisions. Which ones do we select and which ones have to wait, but maybe next time they can come. And I think, we found really good options, or people who present and share their experience. And with the others, we will stay in touch as well.
Yeah, I found very interesting in this conference is something related to AI, using AI in newsroom, and also something related to challenges of refugee community in, host countries. And you know, even for the Rohingya refugee people living in India or in Bangladesh, and some stories we never heard. So it's because of this conference is highlighted in the panels and discussion. So I think it's I think good. I mean, intention we can see during the conference. So that's you being brought up the untold stories, and I think so there are many untold stories of different communities from Myanmar as well. So I think maybe if you have any chance to do it again, maybe are you going to include the other groups who were not able to include in this kind of conference?
We would very much like to do that. One thing is we'll definitely do it. We'll do it again. We will host another conference either next year or the following year. And yes, that was also a learning for me from this conference. And it's that it is always important to see that there are so many affected people and not certain groups only. Of course, it is difficult to have a hierarchy of vulnerabilities. Vulnerable people are vulnerable, and it's always difficult to say, oh, well, we highlight these ones, but not the other ones. We try to be fair and sort of cover as much as we can. And like I said, it's difficult to get affected people involved, but we will try to extend that. And maybe we will also have a video inclusion, like if people can't travel, we did that in the past, that we have them at least in a hybrid way, that they would then speak out in a video call at conferences. It's much stronger if people are able to appear in person, but if it's not possible, that could be an alternative, which we have already experimented with, and maybe for next time we'll extend that.
Thank you. And also, you being the delegations, DW delegations, being visiting around the Exile Media offices in Thailand, Exile Media from Myanmar, who are now in Thailand. So, what is your impression on that? Visiting to Myanmar Exile Media organizations. What did you find?
Well, first of all, I personally found that people are so much engaged in those Exile Media newsrooms. I come from a journalist background myself, broadcast journalist, and I know that many people in this job, they are very committed to what they do. But here they found especially committed people who really work tirelessly in this very difficult circumstances that we know that these circumstances are difficult, but going there and speaking to the people, we can feel it more than before. Like for you and anyone who had to leave the country, this wasn't done voluntary, and you also had to take that very difficult decision and leave certain things behind, and maybe friends and family members even. And now Exile Media are in this difficult situation, don't know what the future will bring, and still have to carry on with this important reporting, connect with reporters in the fields. It's a dangerous situation in many ways, and I find it admirable how the Exile Media are coping with this. And I know from the participants who went that they also were very impressed by that engagement and activity shown.
Yeah, thank you. What are the best takeaways for the participants, you think, of the conference? I mean, after the conference, the 3 days conference, right?
Yes.
So it's after that. What are the best takeaway for them?
Yep. Yeah, spontaneously, we always do that at the end of our conferences. We ask participants there and then what they felt, what their feedback is, but we also do a more in-depth survey afterwards. So that survey hasn't been completed yet, but that's will also be telling. But spontaneously, people were very enthusiastic, I think, because they have made so many new contacts, and we organized something called a marketplace for collaboration, because that's what we're trying to stimulate and inspire, that people from different countries go into cross-border collaboration. And they did. I mean, they came up with all these ideas. We had various stalls with posters, and people could enter their ideas, and others could say, oh yes, I'll be on for this idea. And they left their comments. And that is very promising, I find. And we will look at this very closely and see if we can help to promote any of these ideas. And we always encourage people to do the work between each other, but sometimes we can come in and provide a platform or consultation or training. And yeah, that's my learning, that people do have these ideas, and we manage to activate them and bring them together. And now the next step is that we need to see how we can take that to the next level.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea. I hope DW Academy will continue supporting to Myanmar media, civil society groups, and researchers in the future. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.